Okay, so I will do a recap, get everyone on the same page. The Bishop Gambit dropped out of hyperspace and geared up to investigate this casino ship and rescue some teamsters. They have a number of other things to do, but this was their first thing they really wanted to get done because time was in the essence and life was on the balance. So they drop out of hyperspace and they gear up. Harm decides against running Jessica Elizabeth's gear. Something about the red armor doesn't sit well with him yet. And so he puts on his usual armor. As the spider shuttle joltingly traverses the space between the Gambit and this red and orange garishly painted casino ship, Mr. Tim privately calms Harm, and he cryptically asks Harm if the woman died well. Then he tells Harm it would be a shame to lose them all, and just before signing off, lets Harm know that the Gambit has locked torpedoes on the ship, and if need be, Mr. Tim can blast it into tiny little pieces in space. And then he signs off. Harm, Oni, and Basilio enter the casino ship. Harm and Oni investigate the security hub while Basilio checks to see if this dead man on the floor in one slipper and a dressing gown is one of the teamsters he knows. Harm and Oni find one of the 3 key cards that are used to open the vault, and they learn that they have to use these 3 key cards simultaneously, one in the security hub, one in the helm, and one at the vault door at the same time within 10-15 seconds to open the vault, simultaneously putting the keycads into their receptacles. And they know the vault is where the living might be hiding per the message that Basilio got before they left at Siesta 3. They also see and ignore what looks like an emergency prompt on the sec console from FlySafe. And Oni thinks that FlySafe is a huge conglomerate insurance company that provides coverage for all manner of ships and stations and space endeavors. But Oni and Harm decide not to investigate that message prompt. While they're doing that, Basilio is attempting to get a better look at this dead man on the floor, and there's these foot-long rat-looking things feeding on him, and he tries to entice them off by rummaging through the boxes of dried goods in the storage room, and he is ultimately attacked by a swarm of these things. They have way too many eyes and way too many tails once they swarm over Basilio. Basilio yells for help as he's attacked, and Harm and Oni rush out to Basilio's aid, and in a blink, things go from green to red. Harm accidentally shoots Basilio. The shotgun blast tears through his right chest and slams him into the far wall, and he begins to bleed out and die. Oni's foam gun just splatters the walls and the ceiling with goo, but really not much else. And then Harm continues to have a fair amount of difficulty firing off the shotgun, blasting the walls around him as the aliens now swarm over him and destroy his armor. In the end, Oni rushes to Basilio's aid and starts dragging Basilio back to the spider shuttle, and Harm somehow scrambles through and closes the airlock. Oni and Harm rush back to the Gambit with the dying Basilio, whose last words are, "Save my teamster, promise," and then he loses consciousness. Oni makes a relatively miraculous effort in stabilizing Basilio and performing ad-lib surgery before he and Harm shove Basilio into a cryo-coffin to keep him living. And that's where we ended it. Harm, Oni, and Basilio, you have any additions or comments?
That was pretty expert.
Huh? Okay. So what we're going to do is we fade in. Oh, I got to fix one thing. All right. Let's see. I have to fix that in all of them, I think. Okay, let me fix this really quick. Sorry. Well, what we'll do is stay on the one window and I will fix it later. All right, so we're fading to from black, really. In the cryo bay, it's really just black, white, and grays. The view is tilted because we're looking through Max's eyes and his head is tipped to the right. There's no sound, Max. No sound at all. The last thing you remember is being in hyperspace and Mr. Tim's voice saying, "Well, that's unfortunate." And then blackness. You're laying with your back up against the bulkhead, and you see Harm take Basilio off his shoulder and put him in a cryo-coffin, and then color oozes back into your vision. Your central processor maybe finishing rebooting of some nature. Basilio is a mass of bleeding flesh, and Oni's arms are flailing, performing this surgical miracle. You feel your right hand is squeezed really tight, and you look right and you see sitting next to you is the legless android Prander. You hear Prander say, "He's not going to make it. Dead, dead, dead. I can't watch." And he buries his head into your shoulder. "Let me know when it's over." The slam of Basilio's cryo-coffin makes your head turn back towards Harm and Oni sealing Basilio into the coffin. And they're covered in Basilio's blood. And you have no idea why. What does Max do?
Max he's very disoriented. Does he know how he got to the cryo bay and passed out for the fourth time?
No, he just remembers being in hyperspace. And the last thing before blackness is Mr. Tim's voice saying, "Well, that's unfortunate." That's all he remembers.
Kind of come to and look at Harm, and then look at Oni, and then look at Basilio, and look back at the cryo chamber, and just kind of try to get his bearings. Try to get up, maybe slowly.
Prander grabs you. "Don't leave me, Max. Captain Max." He's legless. "Is it over? Can I open my eyes?"
No, Brander, it's not over.
"Okay, I would just sit here then." He lets go of your hand.
He'll kind of walk over to where they're putting Vass at, and Harm, Oni, what happened? I blacked out. It seemed like, right. I heard Mr. Tim say this is unfortunate. I remember making the jump. That's all I remember.
Well, on our end, there was an unfortunate situation with, well, best way to describe them is rats. I'll take the blame on that one. It did not end well on my part.
Rats did that to Basilio?
We were trying to get rid of said rats. To be fair, they were like a foot long, so
At minimum a foot long. Some of them were even bigger.
Oni, do you think you can? Has he been stabilized at this point or no?
Yeah, they only really had a critical success performing surgery. That's how Basilio is still alive. Oni knows Basilio is going to take about 10, 12 days in cryo, so they essentially just threw him in cryo so cryo could help him survive.
Yeah, we don't have a surgery table, so it's the only thing we could do.
What about the teamsters? What happened to them? The ship?
we had to make the decision to save his life and then go back.
Go back onto the ship, or
Our priority was to save him first, and with only two of us, we decided it was best to not proceed further on the ship at that point.
With all the rats that we encountered just in the first room that we went into, I don't know if anybody else is alive on that ship or how they survived.
Was Bass able, in the trip through hyperspace, was Bass able to make the necessary things for a flamethrower?
Yes.
Did y'all take it onto the ship?
Did we take his? I know we took one of them. You took his, okay.
You guys didn't drop it on the ship and all the confusion, did you?
I wasn't carrying it, so I could not drop what I'm not carrying.
I think Oni dragging Basilio out, and then Harm really made a last-ditch effort to run and dive through the airlock. I think it's still on the floor, or at least one of them.
Unless somebody else picks it up.
Well, what do you guys think? Is it worth saving his teamsters, or do we abandon it, tell them they were all dead?
Well, that was Mr. Basilio's last wish, last words out of his mouth. One hopes that he will survive. I think he may, and he would be very upset if we did not at least try to bring his friends back.
His friends are not my friends. My friends are the two of you, and that is the only people I'm concerned about getting on and off of that ship. And seeing as the two of you barely made it off of the ship, are Are you asking Oni to go back on to the ship?
Basilio is our new friend. He's a bit of a boozer, but still.
The ship has always been a democracy. I think we put it to a vote.
Before we put it to a vote, shall we try to do an after action report? Or, you know what I mean? Talk about what happened and what we can do better.
Well, for starters, we don't engage the rats if we can help it.
Is there anything that we can use to distract them? Food? Food was working, wasn't it?
I think so, yeah. I also would like to point out that it's the least I could do to actually try and help him, considering the fact that I shot him in the first place. So
Nobody's to blame.
I think food was a good distraction for them.
Do we have any flares on the ship?
I think you would have flares. You have one more flamethrower, and you have one extra set of armor. Harm's armor is broken because he was swarmed.
Well, you say food distracts them. Maybe food, and hopefully maybe get that other flamethrower in there. Maybe we take some flares and maybe try to ward them off if they get too close. And I mean, if it's as bad as Oni says, I hate to say this, but it might be a bit of a waste of time. But if it's really what everybody wants, then we'll do it.
Okay.
Is there not also an opportunity to repair our ship if we get these teamsters on our side?
What happened to our ship? I thought we didn't we get it repaired? We got some turrets and stuff on it.
Yeah, you got a two position torpedo or missile bay, and you got a comms jammer eavesdropper. Those are the only two things you could get done in the time period that you had. And you got the two flamethrowers, one that you got left on the ship. You had some extra gear, which Oni put on one of the extra armors. Harm wore his armor, which is now destroyed until it gets repaired. There's one extra set of armor, and Jessica Elizabeth's armor. And you know, when you went on the ship in the security hub, there were 2 SMGs with 6 clips on the wall, but you had no time to take them, obviously, in the mayhem.
But also, we have eyes. If we go back into the security room, there's a whole array of closed-circuit televisions. So hopefully we can do a remote reconnaissance through the security room. At least try to figure a path to where we need to go.
Was there... so you said there was a security room with... So I'm assuming the ship has power, internal lighting?
Yeah, the ship has gravity and lighting. It's hazy in there, or it's low light. It still has gravity and atmosphere, but the engines are shut down. So habitation control is still working, and there's atmosphere and air and gravity.
Mr. Tim?
Yes, Captain. I mean, first surgeon. There always is a first surgeon on the ship, and well, I just saw what you did, and you must be the first surgeon, Bandy. First surgeon Bandy, how may I help you?
Oni.
First surgeon Oni.
Mr. Tim, are you able to access the manifest for the ship?
Negative.
I
do not have a hard line in the ship. That has to be done directly.
Is there a port on the outside of the ship, or do we need to run something from inside?
Correct. Hardline connection through a conduit, airlock.
So all we have to do is get back into the Firefly and dock again, in effect.
Correct. First surgeon Oni.
I know Mr. Mr. Basilio was looking at a friend, or a possible friend, who was dead in this location, and I believe from the door inscription above it said liquor fridge.
Yeah, Basilio had the map, and all of you probably have a map like on a little wrist-held PDA, that probably could track where you are specifically, and that's the map you have. You came in storage here and went to security, and you were really just in those 2 areas. You know that the liquor fridge is here, kitchen, crew quarters, helm, the vault is up forward. You know that a key needs to be in the security and the helm and probably outside the door to the vault to open the vault.
Have any of you been on a ship like this on some kind of a cruise? I certainly have not. But what kind of liquor would they be serving? Would they have perhaps a very high percentage ABV alcohol that perhaps we could use as, I believe it is called Molotov?
I've actually never taken a vacation, but
I'm sorry.
I assume with it being a gambling ship, I'm sure people got to be drunk to want to gamble, so they have to keep the patrons, liquored up. So I assume they would have some whiskey, probably some gin, tequilas, the usual stuff, and probably some of the more expensive stuff for the higher paying patrons, high rollers, I guess.
I feel like Harn would probably at least know alcohol well enough in the military capacity to know whether or not it would be good for a Molotov cocktail.
Yeah, you have no idea what's in the liquor cabinet. Lots of liquor burns.
But specifically overproof would like
Right.
Jamaican rum. That stuff is wild.
It is a casino ship, and you're almost positive that they got to have some high proof stuff in there. I mean, Basilio never made it to the liquor fridge, so he couldn't tell you. He would know it. He would know it in a heartbeat. It probably would have ended up in his pockets, but
he would have sniffed it out.
Everyone has probably gambled on a port station or some sort of place, and generally they bring out the high proof cooch, whether it's made in someone's bathtub or whether it's actually expensive. You're probably 80% positive that the liquor fridge is probably exceedingly well stocked. Now, it's going to have some sugary stuff in there, but it's probably going to have some really stiff stuff.
Okay, so perhaps that is our. Could that be our first step? Our first place that we want to go to try to stock up on something that we could use as firebombs.
It probably wouldn't hurt. I think maybe liquor fridge and security just to do a sweep. Maybe now with Mr. Tim, since we are in such a close proximity to the ship, are you picking up any life forms in the ship?
Mr. Tim says, Captain Bandy, my comms and new equipment allows me to eavesdrop and interrupt traffic and hide our signal. But unfortunately, they did not have time to put the scanner and more biologic equipment on board before we left Siesta 3. I am, though, receiving no comms traffic at the moment. We are in dead space. It is just us, and I am shadowing our signal. So we're not really here, he says.
Well, then I guess the security offices are only way of really having eyes all around the ship.
Yep.
So the crew of the Bishop Gambit is going to dress out, return to the casino barge or casino luxury ship. Harm, what armor are you going to wear?
If Max doesn't want the other one of the battle dress, I'll take that. But if not, then I guess either one. But
Jessica Elizabeth.
Yeah, but if Max doesn't wear any armor, I'll take the normal battle dress.
Can we use Prander in any sort of way?
Prander looks at you and says, "Hell no, I got no legs. What am I going to do in there? I don't want to see you all die. I'm a luxury model."
When you encountered these rats, did they seem like they were looking to y'all as food, or more of a defending their territory situation?
Well, the two that were on the guy kind of seemed hungry, considering they were gnawing at his face. And I'm pretty sure, weren't the other ones coming out of one of the food crates?
Yeah, like a
So
swarm.
yeah, it kind of looked like they were hungry first, guarding second.
Because I do not have any. I'm not organic, so maybe I go in just to test the waters. Perhaps, maybe see if they can smell me or have any interest in me.
Could we prepare some food and put some poison or some kind of other chemical in it that would disable them in some way?
I think that Oni could
Man, if only we had some kind of like
Make-
bio weapon.
You do have some stuff on you. I think Oni can make a botany roll with the stuff he has Dr. Addis to see if he could make something.
And we could put it in the muffins.
You know,
we could throw muffins at the rats.
so he can make a botany roll to see if he thinks of that would. He has no idea whether it would affect their physiology, but he could surely make a botany roll and see what happens.
Okay, so intellect with +10 botany.
You're right.
No.
He's almost positive this is going to work. So we're fade out.
Almost positive.
Almost positive. We're fade out at the Bishop's Gambit crew is preparing to return to the casino ship, and we fade back in on the casino ship to Reyes. Reyes, how about you describe your character first? You know what he looks like, where he is. Like he's in hiding. He's in hiding because getting eaten by aliens isn't something you're keen on, and checking off your to-do list. So how about describing what Reyes looks like?
So Reyes is like he looks like a casino worker. He's wearing, I mean, he's a casino worker. He's wearing the garb of a casino worker, tied, maybe a little disheveled from being in his hiding place, which is actually, knowing him, I think he would probably hide in a place where he's not allowed to be normally. So I think he would probably barricade himself maybe in like an Imperial suite or something, if that's possible.
No, you can't be in the Imperial Suites. Imperial Suites, Reyes, and the reason is the last place you saw that balding, terrible pit boss run was to the Imperial Suite through the gambling tables. Reyes, you know that the pit boss Arlen has the last key to the vault, and you were somewhere by the buffet bar when all hell broke loose and the alien got shot out free, and the pit boss went screaming past the gaming tables back towards the Imperial Suite, and that place is just overrun. So you're probably not in the Imperial Suite. You're somewhere somewhere between staff hallway and engineering.
Okay. Probably, I guess engineering would probably make the most sense. They probably have the most like nooks and crannies where you can kind of hide away from.
Okay.
Okay, so yeah, he's in his casino garb, greasy, dirty, from hiding in his hidey hole, which he was able to secure some level of sustenance, food, or stuffs hidden away to kind of survive the days while he tried to figure out what to do.
Okay.
He's a very cautious man. Very he thinks through all of his options, and I think what draws him out is his kind of dwindling food supplies and the shotgun blast he heard probably somewhere along the storage lines, which piques his interest. Maybe someone has come to aid the attacked vessel.
Yeah, so Reyes, you're in engineering. You got these two large engine blocks, and they're just grinding because they got these partial bits and bones of aliens in there, and you can hear them kind of cracking as the engines are barely even moving. The body of the engineer is kind of stuck in one of those rotating engines, and you've slipped the key card off of him because the engineer had one of the key cards. You know the pit boss has a key card, and now you have a key card, and you know that there needs to be 3 key cards to open the vault. And you're in engineering, and you heard them come. Some ship, you heard, maybe it was a rescue, and you heard them lock on to the storage bay, this grinding cacophony as the shuttle must have been attaching. And then there was a brief moment, perhaps, elation. You thought, oh my goodness, I'm going to be saved. And you were probably preparing to duck out, and then you heard the gunshots and just mayhem. And then shortly after that, the grinding and heaving of the shuttle detaching. Maybe they won't come back. They just put a wedge in your plans. Do you wait in engineering, or you go out and survey?
I think he would at least survey the engineering portion to see if there are any threats, kind of like peek out, see what is in there. Maybe the situation has changed. Maybe they drew a lot of the attention away, so I can sneak by in other ways.
So do you
I
look?
think, yeah,
Do you look out the door of engineering into storage?
yeah.
Ray, as you peek open the door to storage and you see this swarm of rats dragging a body through the doorway that leads to a liquor fridge, and then the bottom of his feet, he's got one slipper on and a dressing gown, and disappears. And it's all quiet. You notice that there's blood all over the far wall and some sort of weapon laying on the floor.
Okay. Has Reyes have countered these creatures before, like during the initial attack, or is this something that popped up like while he was in hiding?
Reyes knows everything I sent him.
Okay, I have to review that.
In Discord, I could surely read it for you. There are some.
No,
You know what they are, how they got free, what types there are. It's number
5.
Yeah, number 3 is how they got free. And you know there's 3 types, really. These little kind of swarmlings, another one, this kind of cat-sized, dog-sized one, and then Shudi. You've been crawling through the conduits, and you know Shudi has crawled through there too, but you're almost positive that the mascot no longer fits because he's gotten so very much bigger.
Yeah. Okay. I think he would wait. The rat seems to have ideas of moving the body into the liquor fridge when he feels a certain amount of time has passed that he can safely move in his mind into the storage to perhaps get that peculiar item on the floor.
Sure. Ray, as you wait till it gets silent, you can hear them dragging the body off through the liquor fridge. You know they're going to drag it out through the kitchen and probably through near crew quarters and then probably into the maze of the slot machine. You can hear them. You know what it sounds like. The casino ship is dimly lit, and it's kind of shaped like this zeppelin, and it's painted this garish red and gold, and there's calligraphy all over the walls, and you can hear the slot machines even here. They kind of reverberate through the walls, this cacophony of the maze of gambling that's still running this kind of disjointed music. You go out into the storage bay and look down at this weapon on the floor right outside the airlock that leads out, and you see a flamethrower. The wick has gone out, but that's easy to restart, and all is silent in the storage area. You can still hear the swarms kind of dragging the body off. Do you wait in storage or do anything else?
He'll grab the weapon for sure.
Okay.
I don't imagine that he would have his weapon with him. I would imagine that it would be somewhere else on the ship, being the attack was on duty hours.
Right.
So yeah, I think he would grab the only source of security that he can find. And I don't know. What would he do? The liquor fridge is definitely out because that's where they are at. Maybe he would peek into security to see if there's anything that he could equip himself with to potentially fight off now that he's armed.
Yeah, you dip into security. You got this flamethrower, and there's 2 SMGs on the wall, 6 clips, and the sec console, which you've already looked at and accessioned. You know what's on the sec console.
Mm-hmm.
That message from FlySafe. You can see 2 SMGs on the wall and 6 clips. Oddly, whoever came on board, you almost heard them in security, probably briefly, but they didn't take the weapons off the wall. And you are holding the flamethrower.
Yeah. They're SMGs, so I'm assuming I could like put them on like my hip or something.
Or, over your shoulder, have a
On my shoulder, yeah.
secondary weapon.
I don't think he'll need both of them, but he'll definitely take all the ammo.
Right. So I will drag the flamethrower onto him, and they're probably pulse rifles. Okay. So you take one of the SMG pulse rifles and one of the, not pulse rifles. I just put this on. And you have the flamethrower. Okay.
Yep.
So back on the Gambit, you all gear up and are going to return to the casino ship. Oni, you are going to attempt to, you attempted to make some sort of concoction that you think may affect them, and you're almost positive you got it right. Does the crew do anything before they load up into the spider shuttle and head over?
I guess Max he'll take one of the battle dresses or the other battle dress,
Okay.
just in case the rats do try to sample.
Sample him?
Yeah.
All right. So you take the other spare battle dress, and Harm, that leaves you armorless. Sorta.
I'm debating if I want to put it on just without the helmet, because I feel like with the helmet that makes it a little iffy, you know?
You put on the red armor, but without the helmet.
Yeah,
Do you leave the
it
helmet?
looks weird, but
You leave the helmet behind?
yeah, mainly because he knows that that's the only way they can actually find Roscoe, and he would rather not have that destroyed. So,
Okay. You get the armor points and the DR, but you don't get anything else related to the armor because you don't have the helmet on, or you don't know what it integrates. So you put on Jessica Elizabeth's beaten up red void armor, and does the crew then head over?
I'm gonna get some flares and then the other flamethrower.
I'll
Okay.
I'll tear up some rags to stuff into the necks of the bottles.
Okay. Find some gauze or that sort of thing to put it into
Nice greasy rags.
and Dr. Addis's brass, lighter he gave you. All right. And you load up. Go ahead.
I guess, Harm, do you want the flamethrower? Since I have literally nothing as far as like range, combat, skill wise. Anyway,
I mean, might as well. Sure.
Max will hold on to the flares then and give him the flamethrower.
Okay. Harm, do you have one on your sheet? I look and see.
Let me double check.
Oh yeah, you do. You have one on.
Oh, I do. Okay.
Okay.
Cool. I don't even remember what the helmet adds to the armor, but I don't care.
Yeah, you don't know. You don't get the burst if you look on the armor. You don't get that burst. So the crew of the Bishop Gambit gear up. Oni gets stuff to make Molotov cocktails, hoping to find some high-grain alcohol in the liquor fridge. Harm puts on most of Jessica Elizabeth's red void armor, aside from the helmet. Max puts on the spare battle dress and takes the flamethrower, and you all load up into the spider shuttle. Any last words?
Just looking at my sheet, I still have an Arma 20 submachine gun and then a slug revolver. Is that...
You could take them, like you could throw the submachine gun on its loop around you and have the pistol at your side.
Okay.
You could take more than one thing.
Okay, I just didn't know if I still had those or if we had lost them, or what. I just wanted to make sure that my sheet was still right.
Yeah, I put the flamethrower on. I mean, the flamethrower itself is this big bulky thing. You'd have to drop it to use the others.
I'm gonna give the flamethrower to, because we only had one, right? One flamethrower.
One now, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
So
I'm gonna give that one to Harm.
Okay.
Yeah, and then I'll just keep the slug revolver and the submachine gun.
Harm's outfitted with the flamethrower. You take the shotgun with you, Harm?
Please no.
Yeah, I was gonna say he's definitely hesitant to take it again after what happened to Basilio. So
So you leave it back.
yeah,
What could go wrong with a flamethrower?
All right.
melt
So
half of someone's face off.
I see Harm going over with a flamethrower and maybe a small submachine gun thrown over one shoulder. He leaves his smart seeker rifle because, it's no good here. It's got extreme range. And the shotgun just hasn't done him well. Well, it hasn't done Basilio well, but he leaves the shotgun behind. Oni, you're going over really to hope to make some Molotov cocktails. You are in standard battle dress, and you have your foam gun still. You take anything else in your non-combat mode?
Other than my satchel, rubberized satchel with all of the pharmaceuticals and
Okay. Right.
pressure bandages.
Okay. So Harm, Max, and Oni load up on the spotter shuttle to try to go back into the casino ship to track down Basilio's teamsters. And you head over. As the spider shuttle disjointedly attaches to the ship, it's this grinding sound that Reyes hears in security, because it is kind of this hackneyed spider shuttle to begin with. Max, you get a private comm from Mr. Tim. Captain Max, this is the Bishop Gambit.
Yes, Mr. Tim.
I have locked torpedoes on again. And if need be, you can send a word and I will blow everything to smithereens.
Well, let's hope I don't give you that word till we get back.
Right. It would be terrible to lose you too. Good luck. Bishop Gambit out. Click.
Mr. Tim, first, one more thing.
Yes, First Surgeon.
Now that the Spider Shuttle is connected to the luxury yacht, are you able to access the network?
You got to take the cord out, First Surgeon, attach it to a conduit, and then it'll wire me over information. What are we looking for?
Could you patch into the security network and give us a running play-by-play of, for instance, the next room that we may be going into? Could you keep an eye on the security cams?
Roger. I will attempt to do so.
Thank you, Mr. Tim. Thank you.
So the Spider Shuttle attaches. You hear the grinding noise as the Spider Shuttle attaches to that aft storage conduit airlock. And then you hear Ray, as you're in security, perhaps looking at the cameras, trying to hunt down all those damn aliens. When you feel the ship and the shuttle hit and attach, what does Reyes do?
I would take cover with the door open into security, and I'd point my gun in the direction of where they would be coming out.
Are you pointing the flamethrower or an SMG?
The SMG.
Okay, so you just harness the flamethrower.
Yeah.
Okay, so the Spider Shuttle attaches and the airlock goes from green to red. Max, were you planning to make a foray on your own?
Yeah, I'll go first. They might try to take a nibble, but maybe they won't, since I don't have any flesh.
All right. So, Max, you exit into the storage area, and the storage area has this wall of shelves that are now broken. You can see Basilio's blood on the forward wall, which is here, where Basilio was. And you can see that it's just in disarray. You can see the drag mark of his blood leading out towards where the Spider Shuttle is connected. There's no other body in the storage area, and you know that security, the door is open here to security, but you don't really see anything. You don't see these rat-like aliens around. The storage area is really in disarray. You just see the remnants of what's left after the mayhem of the first foray onto the casino ship. What does Max do?
Max will stick to the plan. I think he's going to go to the security. And
Do I see
Yeah,
Max?
You probably hear him. I think you're tucked in a little bit. Or I thought Reyes was tucked in where he couldn't be seen.
No, the way I positioned, I thought so in my mind, he was basically kind of like in a standoff point where he would confront.
Oh, okay. So you're like right by the
anyone
door.
coming in. Yeah, I think he would be more like close towards the door.
Okay.
Where he could see.
So Max, you look down this long hallway and you see this man with an SMG. SMG. Ricardo, Reyes, you see, you could probably tell it's an android. You could just see his head, unless he's wearing the helmet. Step out with advanced battle dress. What happens as you two lock eyes suddenly on this casino ship?
I would confront him and say, "Hold on right there, bolt for brains. Your pirate friends have already left. There's nothing left for you here.
Max will just kind of look at him and just,
How's your ship? Is it flyworthy?
please keep your voice down. I was told there was.
Answer the question, or I'll fill you full of holes."
The ship is good. It is flyable. It is in definitely a lot better shape than this one.
Put your
No,
weapon on the ground.
Can't do that.
So help me to God, I'll blow you to bits. Put your weapon on the ground.
You were asking me to disarm myself when I was told that there were aliens on this ship. I
There
cannot
are
do
aliens, and lots of them.
that. And
State your
Would like
purpose.
me- My purpose was to help a crewmate who was critically wounded fulfill his duty, which was to recover some of his teamster friends.
You'll see Ricardo. Remember the blood, the fresh blood that was splattered all over the wall, and he'll like motion with his head over that. Is that one of yours?
Regrettably, yes, but he is in stable condition and alive, due to our first surgeon.
Now I don't quite trust you just yet, but we have people still here.
How many?
Who knows? It's a ticking time bomb. We don't have much time left.
How do you know there are still people here other than yourself?
I work here, and he'll kind of step out from the cover, knowing that having a little bit more confidence in that Max is not hostile, hopefully, and kind of like show his garb that he's wearing, the uniform of the casino.
So what did Ricardo do? Did he work the slots? Did he work the tables? Did he work in the
He
galley?
worked the tables.
Worked the tables like a dealer.
Yeah.
All right. Calling out the numbers of the roulette wheel.
Yeah.
Black 19. All right. So you're like in a disheveled tuxedo almost. Like you
Yeah,
know?
yeah.
Yeah. a
The
real
disheveled
shirt.
tuxedo, yeah. The
Right.
bow tie that's kind of like not hanging on anymore.
He's got black pants with like satin runners down each side of each leg, you know, and snappy shoes on.
You wouldn't happen to be one of the teamsters we were sitting here to recover, would you?
Teamsters. No, I work for a living.
So Harm and Oni, you are in the spider shuttle. Max, you can see him because the airlock door is open, and he turns, and you're listening to this odd conversation going back to first. First, whatever this disembodied voice is telling Max to drop his weapon, and they're going back and forth. Oni, you've like wound the conduit. You know, it's plugged into one, and you've got this long loop of cable, you know, that you're going to try to take out to security, and Harm is there, probably standing just in front of you. Harm and Oni, as Max is having this conversation with this disembodied voice, do the two of you do anything, or you stay put?
Oni follows Harm's.
I guess Harm will probably just ask, call out and ask if he is okay given the situation. I guess, like, not necessarily like trusting the intentions of this person and like making sure that like they won't attack him or Max if he comes out, kind of thing.
Okay. So you just yell out, letting them know you're there, or there's another person. Do you step out, Harm, or stay within the shuttle?
I guess I'll just like kind of stay within the shuttle just to make sure, but like just like call out and make sure that like Max is doing okay, even though I can see him.
So Max and Reyes, how does this standoff come to terms?
I think as Harm calls out to Max, he won't say anything to Harm, but he'll give him a look like, you know, like, it's okay, and look back at Ricardo, and I've got some crewmates who need to come aboard. We need access to the security room. Is that okay?
Ricardo will like kind of move towards the engine room. His gun is at the ready, not pointed at you, but definitely within a moment's notice if he needs it. He'll kind of move towards like that location and just kind of motion with his head.
And I think Max isn't gonna grab a sidearm or anything like that. And
There's
kinda
no bullets in
motion-
there, even if there was. Even he did.
There's no clip in his SMG, Reyes?
Gonna
No, the one that's left in there.
Oh, you took all 6 clips.
He took them all.
Okay. 6 clips and left the other one. Okay.
So Max is gonna kind of motion to Harm and Oni, like everything's okay, and just kind of look at Harm and just tell him, you know, just weapons low. We don't want any conflict. We get to the security room, get what we need. He says there are people here, but he is a little on edge, as I'm sure anybody would be in his situation. I don't wish to push him any further.
Harm
No.
will kind of just like step out, just like kind of like turning his back to Oni as he walks, just like kind of guarding him as he goes to the security room. Just not like, just kind of pointing his flamethrower to the ground, so like Ricardo knows that like he's not gonna do anything to hurt him.
Okay, so Oni and Harm exit the spider shuttle. Oni, you got this loop of conduit, really cabling that you're going to go in and plug into the security hub. I expect you go into the security hub. You find a conduit and you'll clip it in. Click. You can see that you've already been in this room, but one of the SMGs has been taken, and all 6 clips. You can see the security console still has that blinking message that says, fly safe, message, fly safe, message. You plug in the conduit in the security hub as Harm probably guards the door and standing looking at Ricardo Reyes. Does Oni do anything else?
Perhaps at this point, with so many others around, I'll have a quick look at that message.
You just type on the screen, hit return.
Sure.
You hit return, you're just in the room by yourself, and you look at the message and it pops up. Bloop. FlySafe Insurance Company. Obtain black box, 2 million credit. Obtain black box, 2 million credit reward. You just see it flashing there. FlySafe Corporation.
I'll get a print. I'll hit print.
print screen. You're like looking around. Damn it. There's no printer in the security hub.
Okay. I'm joking.
Yeah, and so you plug in the conduit. You see like a little flicker on the screen, perhaps the bank of screens above you. You look up at them, and they're kind of grainy, black and white. You are watching for a minute, and one of the cameras completely goes black. Not that it blackened out, but just something really big went past it and obscured the whole vision. And then you can kind of see into the maze of the casino ship, all these black and white, gray and white flashing lights of the slot machines, and it's kind of in this overhead position where you're looking down. It just looks in disarray. You can see bodies laying everywhere. You see the buffet bar, and you see this large thing, probably the size of a dog, if you've ever actually seen a real dog out in space, with giant kind of ears. Looks like it's eating the face of a female patron who's no longer moving on top of a gambling table. And then you see this gambling table, you're looking down from a high position on the ceiling, and it's just a mess. Looks like a rat's warren, and it's just completely disheveled. Aside from that, you don't really have cameras that look anywhere else. You probably see the kitchen, which looks relatively normal. Looks like there's a body in the kitchen slumped in one side, and that's really what you have. You don't really have a view of the vault. You don't have a view of the captain's quarters or the helm or anything like that.
Did not have a camera in the vault, though, since that's where all the valuables are, to make sure nobody stole anything?
No camera in the vault.
Just got the shot.
I think
I'd ask.
Triple lock door.
I think Ricardo would probably be watching over Oni as he's like going over the security feeds.
Sure.
And as his eyes kind of catch that moving dog-sized creature, he would make mention that that's not even the big one.
Yes, you had mentioned that quite literally something moved past the camera and turned the screen black. Which room was that?
Somewhere in the maze.
Yeah.
We're in the maze.
Right. And it's big because you got these ceiling cams looking down. And so it's not like you got a floor view. You're actually up on a wall, and the whole thing goes black. And then you see like the tops of all the slot machines, like from an overhead view.
So Oni's relatively young, so he's got good vision. I would suspect that out of the corner of his eye he sees is Ricardo. What are we calling you?
Yeah, or Reyes.
Reyes?
He'll introduce himself.
So yeah. So I'll say you are a passenger on the ship, and then he looks
on the ship. Despite his disheveled look, he probably still has his name tag.
Right, roulette wheel 3.
Yeah. It's hi, my name is Reyes. Right. It says right.
Do you know your way around the ship then? You
do.
Must. Are there other ways to get past some of these creatures? Are there passageways, access tunnels, and we've seen these before on some other ships.
Yeah. Okay. So can I ask? Does he know of alternate ways, or is this just the straight path on the map? Is there alternate ways that he's not seeing? That's in our observation.
There are air conduits or overhead air vents that perhaps Reyes had crawled through to get to safety. They don't go into particular spaces. Obviously, the helm doesn't have the helm's conduit really has a shaft that comes up from beneath, and you didn't crawl through that, and engineering. So the helm, engineering, and vault are not connected, and security are not connected. The rest of it's kind of like this H pattern or this pattern of overhead air ducts. You crawled through part of it. You do realize that in the beginning, before the mascot could feed, it could fit through there. But then at some point, it broke through the conduit somewhere around the buffet bar. It's overhead in the ceiling, and maybe he kicked out the one in storage just to get to engineering to close the door because he knows that there's no air conduits leading into engineering.
Yeah. Okay. So I explain, instead of like answering, I just kind of look up and like point with my head at one of the air conduits. You can go through those, but with your arms underneath you and your legs prone, you're helpless to creatures that can fit through there.
Okay, well, I guess that's a plan B then. Would you say, if we need to get out?
We could either confront the swarm that has taken refuge in the liquor fridge, or we could sneak around the gaming tables and go around them.
Max will kind of turn his back since he's standing right by the liquor fridge and take us a few steps closer to the security office.
Yeah, the liquor fridge door is open.
He'll take a few steps over here.
Harm, you all are probably back in that back section a little bit, and you come up with a plan. Anyone living is probably locked themselves up in the vault.
What do they keep in the vault, Reyes?
This is a casino barge. Money.
Bars of gold.
And he'll kind of look at Oni. What do you see, Oni? Anything?
Creatures in the maze area? A big one. I don't know what it is. Mr. Reyes, do you have any insight? Have you seen this thing? What is it capable of doing?
I've seen it swallow the captain whole. I'll tell you that much.
Well, the one on the screen is still sitting there, and oddly, it kind of turns towards you, and it's got these big kind of like bat ears, but it's about the size of a dog. It looks like one of the rat things, just much bigger. It's got multiple eyes and a long snout and 3 or 4 tails, but it got these huge ears, and you see him swivel a little bit.
Yeah.
And it's kind of sitting on top of his table. Reyes has seen what the mascot was when it attacked the captain and swallowed him whole, and that's much bigger.
With this being a pleasure barge, I'm assuming you have speakers that play music around the ship, and my crew informed me that they were kind of like large rats, and if I do know anything, I do know that rats, they tend to scatter at the sight of sound or light. And if they don't scatter at the sound, maybe it could give us something to maybe cover the noise we make as we move through the ship.
These aren't your normal rats, but I'd see your point. We wouldn't be able to access that control panel here. Most likely, well, actually, I would know, right?
It's in the helm.
On the helm?
Yeah.
It's in the helm.
Yeah. Most of the ship controls are in the helm.
How far do these conduits, how close do these conduits, can they get us to the helm?
It can take us probably to the staff hallway, just before the helm. But again, as I told your friend here, I'd hate to be the one up front.
And I'll go it alone.
Great. The only other thing Reyes would know is that when the dog-sized alien appears, it's almost like a herald. The big one is close. It's like a spotter.
Okay.
So what's the plan?
I think Reyes would keep that information to himself.
Okay.
I think Max is going to try to go in the air vents and try to get as close to the helm and try to maybe get the music going. So maybe, and I mean blast it and try to get it onto like nauseating volume.
Would Mr. Tim be able to control the sound into the ship?
Sure. Oni, let's see what you have. No, you don't have a teamster. Ship roll. I'll make a ship roll. See if he can do it.
Or maybe can I hack him into the system?
Yeah,
So
let somebody else who has better skills than me do that.
Because I've got hacking, and I don't know if mathematics would play a role in it, but I ain't computer. I do have computer too as well.
oh, you could do that, Max. You connect the conduit if you're in security, and you can make a intellect plus computers with and see if Mr. Tim can control it.
Yeah,
You hear this little tinny
I'm
voice,
terrible at this game.
little tinny voice. Captain Max, it just doesn't seem to be working. I think it has a downgraded system. I have many life forms all over the place. It's like a haze of red and oranges and this one big giant blob, but it keeps going in and out, and then it's black. I can't access the helm or the vault. Systems are good, but it's on a secondary system for the game floor.
Are you seeing any movement in the conduits, Mr. Tim?
It's a 2x2 array, Captain Max. It's not a 3D representation.
That is worth a shot.
There
Kind of look at.
there seems to be a whole bunch of activity in the gaming tables area, in and out, giant kind of clouds of orange, and then a larger life form in the buffet bar. There was some sort of huge blot out in the maze, and then it just disappeared. There's some smattering of life forms in the crew quarters. I cannot pierce the vault because of how it's made.
I guess Max will look at harm and get a boost into the conduits.
Should the person going point have the fire flamethrower?
Is everyone going into conduits or just Max?
I feel like Max is the least susceptible to being eaten just because he's not organic, maybe, possibly.
Okay.
You still haven't given me an answer about that, but I'm just going to stick true. That's what I believe to be true.
Max doesn't know. I mean,
Yeah. Max chooses
Surely-
to maybe think that is a
surely the
possibility.
aliens wouldn't eat them. I mean, they would just cohabitate into his mental space, but eating his body, that's probably not.
Yeah, maybe what's one more person in my mental psyche? Why not?
So, Max, you get a boost up into the conduits. Is anyone else going with Max crawling through these tight, tunneled conduits towards staff hallway?
Mr. Harm, do you have a flamethrower? No. Do you have the flamethrower?
I think I do, yeah.
Yes, go on.
Let me just double check that. I think I do. Yeah, I do. So I can give that to Max just in case.
Before we do that, could we go to the liquor fridge and try to get some high overproof?
Sure, you can go look in the liquor fridge. Oni?
Don't go to the liquor fridge. Reyes said that he'd seen a few of them in there.
Well, should we close the door at least then?
Quietly, if you have to.
I mean, like a fridge like that would probably have some kind of a lock on it, right? I would guess. Like, you know how the freezers have kind of a latch?
It's got like a big, there's no lock on it now, but it's got like a big turn.
Yeah.
Handle, really.
So let's go close that so that at least we keep the area that we're in safe.
Okay. Oni, you go close the door.
And Harm will cover me, right?
Yes.
I mean, Oni's going to close the door while Max is going to shimmy his way through a really tight space when there's foot-long alien rats running around. Oni, you grab the door and close it. You can see a wall full of liquor as you close the door, and drag marks as something has gone through there. And you close the door and it clicks with this thud, like, because it's, it's a thick door to keep the liquor fridge at least a little bit cold. And you could probably see or feel cold air coming out because habitation is still working. So the liquor fridge cooler is still working, and you close the door with this loud kind of thunking click. You don't notice anything else. Harm, you boost Max up into the air vent. It's high above your head. Max has to grab it and like pull himself into the air vent, and then maybe reach down and get the flamethrower. And Harm, it's narrow. Your shoulders are touching on either end. You're going to have to like push the flamethrower in front of you and low crawl as much as possible to go forward. Does anyone go into the shaft with Max?
Reyes doesn't know these people, so he's not going in.
All right. What's the plan as Max is shimmying his way forward towards the conduit of staff hallway?
Just get to the staff hall. If he can get to the staff hallway quietly and unnoticed and get into the helm, maybe hack the computer there. So again, like I said, maybe just get some kind of music going just at
Okay.
nauseating volumes to cover their tracks as they move around the ship.
As Max is going to crawl forward, what do the rest of you do as he's taking this huge risk?
I'm gonna go back into security and watch the feeds, if anything.
Okay. And how about Oni and Harm?
I always in these situations feel that nobody should go alone.
Okay.
But and we didn't bring the legless android with us. Oh damn it! What's his name again?
Brander.
Brander. This would have been a mission perfect for Brander.
He doesn't want to die.
So, but I would think Oni's the smallest. So I'll follow Max. And if he gets in trouble, I'll try to pull him back out.
So you're gonna crawl in behind him.
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
Staying well back though.
So Reyes and Harm stay aft. Reyes watching the security feeds. Max crawls up into the conduits. Harm has to give Oni a boost up there and help him up because he has to pull himself up, deadlift, dead pull up, and shimmy his way in there. And Max and Oni are going to go crawling through the conduit towards staff hallway.
Mr. Max, what do you think of us of perhaps me staying a little further back, but if we find some cable or something, maybe I could tie this around one of your ankles or around your waist, and if you get in trouble, I can pull you back.
Actually, Oni, that's a great idea. And I actually do have. Let me make sure, double check. I have some paracord actually in my bag.
Wonderful.
So if you could, I'm assuming since the space is so tight, I kind of look at Oni and say, it's in the bottom left pocket. If you can get to it and tie it around my ankle.
Okay, so how many feet is it?
Most of it's 50 feet.
Okay, so then
Typical winding, 50 to 100 feet. Yeah.
Okay, so let's see. Let's leave one end with Harm maybe, and let's see how far you can go.
It'll work.
Okay.
Yeah, he'll slowly start to very as quietly as he can shimmy his way through this air duct.
So, and you're following Oni, right?
Yes, but maybe 20 feet behind.
Okay. Max and Oni make I'm just gonna make it a straight up combat roll. Like you're combat crawling. Make a. What skill do you think you would use to try to make it through? It would probably be speed or intellect. Trying to be quiet, trying to make your way forward.
Speed is probably the best thing I have.
Okay.
Intellect is mine.
So roll flat. Speed, intellect. Oh my god.
Oh my god, that's a really bad failure. I thought I rolled mine.
Max rolled is. Holy shit, Max.
Good luck.
This is going well. Beyond well.
Reyes, Harm, what are you doing as they're crawling through?
Did they drop the cord back so I could drop okay. He'll have one grip on that, and I guess he'll ask Reyes if he sees any movement from any of the on any of the cameras.
Yeah, I'll do I see anything?
Yeah, Reyes, the answer to that is hell yeah. You're watching.
I respond in kind. Hell yeah.
You're watching. You're watching, and you hear this kind of echoing reverberation coming from the tunnel because Max is all knees and elbows as he's moving through this kind of aluminum conduit, and it's reverberating all the way back to Oni. You're looking through the cameras, and then the camera in the gaming room is placed on this far wall, Reyes, and you're looking at this firewall. You're hearing this noise, even where you are in security. You're hearing the noise of Max moving through, which isn't going to be good. And then you see a swarm of the ratlings climb up this far wall, and where you know the conduit opening is.
I tell to Harm, you better tell your friends to hurry up. They're coming in after them.
Is that like, can they hear me through the conduit, or would I need to have Mr. Tim like
You
patch
could-
me in through the short comms?
You could probably have short comms with them where you could shout, you could yell up through. Like Oni is pretty close. Like the opening to the overhead is probably here. You know, you're probably standing right here, and the opening is right there. Oni, you can hear them. You could shout up there. You could use your short range, comms, that sort of thing.
I guess I'll shout to Oni, be like, "You better hurry up! The rats are coming for you!"
Out of character, you said there was something that Reyes wants in the Imperial Suite. What was it again? Or did I hear that wrong?
Reyes knows the last key. That's where he saw the last key card on the pit boss, as the pit boss was running. And when all mayhem wore out, the pit boss has a key card, the captain has a key card. And so Reyes, I don't know if the group knows he has the second key card. And I don't know if he knows that the group has the first key card.
Okay.
But the third key card, he saw the pit boss running through the gaming tables towards the Imperial Suite.
Okay, so I wanna try something. So does he believe, based off what he can see from the camera, that One and Max are causing an adequate distraction?
As he's looking at the gaming table camera, he sees a swarm of ratlings, which are called princelings, go scurrying up the wall towards the sound that Max is pounding out as he's climbing forward. In a short manner of speaking, Reyes, there's going to be all sorts of commotion that's going to occur.
Okay.
In short order.
So I think to keep the tension, while Harm is screaming inside the air vents, distracted, I think Ricardo is going to make a way towards the front of their gaming tables and wait for just a few moments before he tries to breach the door and make a way towards the Imperial Suite.
Okay. We lost Max here for a second. I didn't get a message from him. What were you going to say, Oni?
I was going to say I'm near the liquor fridge, and so I should be able to hopefully maybe see the light from the room itself passing through the vent.
Yeah, up into the. So there's a vent here, and what Oni's going to see is that there's a T. There's really a T that comes through. So our draw. I'm just going to do it like this. There's a T here, and there's a T here, and there's like a T here up forward, and this one probably comes all the way across. And the venting goes forward through these T's up to here. And so in that T, there's a vent into the liquor, and there's an vent into gaming tables. And there's probably one further back, which maybe that's the one you kind of entered and came up forward. Oni's going to see the vent buckle, or at least the one from the gaming room. He's going to suddenly hear a whole host of scrabbling like nails on a chalkboard as the swarm starts to break its way through this vent right here, attracted by Max's noise.
I would be crawling through the vent with my glue gun in front of me, the expanding foam glue. You know what I mean? It's like a 0G sealant, which I imagine has some pretty interesting properties, up to the DM though, or GM. So I'm going to go to that, and I would be able to see the screen, the vent itself. Can I use my glue gun? As again, I'm moving with it in front of me. Can I just hose that vent down to?
Sure. I think if you go to the edge, right to the T intersection. You hear all the noise. The vent buckles inward, and you know they're going to come out, Oni. You have to try to seal that, or at least get your glue gun in position and fire it off. So you would use combat, and you don't really have any skills. So I think since you're
It's kind of hard to miss, though.
right, I think you're in position. I'd give you advantage. The caveat is if you miss and overshoot, they're just going to be in the conduit with you.
Okay. Maybe I should have rolled up that new character. Okay. I think I got one.
Oh,
No, I didn't, did I? No.
how does that fail? You crawl up there as fast as you can. Maybe you're shouting to Max, and you like have to put your foam gun, sideways, and you're looking down there trying to shoot it. What happens, Oni?
Maybe it doesn't. Maybe it doesn't. Maybe I didn't reload it.
Oh no.
The last time I shot it off in the storage room.
Yeah, either that or the safety's on, and you're going click, 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 click. These foot-long aliens stream out and fill the space between you and Max. They're gonna kind of flood into that area, Oni. What does Oni do is his glue gun fails.
Yell back to Harm. Pull me back. Pull me back. Actually, I don't know. I guess I'm not tied off. Only Max is tied off. So I'm going to try, if I can, at all. I don't know what I'll need to roll. Try to find the refill. Trying to go backwards. Try to do the refill and try to hose it down again.
So make a speed check. If you are successful, the rats don't swarm over the top of you in that small, tiny space. If not, you take 1d4 of damage.
Okay. So he's going to be chanting his litany against fear.
I don't know if that helps speed.
I'm sorry?
I don't know if that helps speed.
Well, you have to think about it this way too, though. That if he can remain calm, at least he won't.
I give you theology then. How's that?
It's only plus 10.
All right. See how it goes. Speed plus theology. Oh.
I didn't even need that 10.
So what happens, Oni? What does it look like? They fill the T space between you. You fail with the glue gun. You start to back out.
Yeah, back out while I'm trying to reload. And it's one of these situations where time slows down for him and everything just clicks. And he gets it reloaded, and hopefully he can get another shot off.
Yeah, I see you squirming all the way back towards the T section. Your feet, dangling through the conduit. Harm can probably hear it as you come racing through. Your feet come dangling through, and you realize that the reason you're safe is these alien ratlings just took a right-hand turn up the conduit and started to follow Max. It blots
He's the one that had the critical failure.
Yeah, plots it out, and you go shimming back, and you got your feet over. You look up in front of you, and you realize none of them have followed you down the conduit, and you just see this mass of darkness turn right, and Max's boot bottoms are lost from view. Max, what happened is you made so much noise that a whole bunch of princelings and ratlings came crawling up out of the gaming table area up through the conduits that are these kind of T intersections in the conduit that are purple. Oni tried to foam cannon it and failed, and then he beat feet, or he crawled through like a perfect mystical worm to the back, and the aliens turned towards Max, making this thumping, loud, huge noise. Max, you probably hear it. I'm sure Oni yells out. The ratlings are behind you, and they're going to swarm over the top of you. what would you do as they're behind you? You can't turn around. You're in this conduit.
How far am I away from the nearest drop point?
You're 15 feet. It's, right here. It drops. There's a T intersection. I know my lines are kind of crooked, but one of the vents drops into the kitchen, and the other vent, in that T intersection drops into the buffet bar entryway.
Well, I know it's in here. Max will try to. He'll try to get to the kitchen. And how far behind me are they?
You will make a speed check. If you fail your speed check, they swarm over the top of you as you're crawling through the kitchen. I see you drop through the kitchen conduit with them just covering you, biting through your armor. If you make your speed check, you get to the intersection before they do and can drop through into the kitchen as they're going to amass, and this mass of aliens are going to drop through after you.
Well, here goes nothing.
Oh my god.
That was a 66 a critical failure.
That's twice you rolled a critical failure. Max, you take that left turn in the conduit, and you can't get the grate open. You're pounding on the grate. The grate won't open. The aliens swarm over your body. You take 1d4 plus 1. You still have armor on, though, right?
Yeah, I've got the advanced battle dice.
So you take 5 total. So
max damage, of course.
Right. So what happens is you take 2 to your armor points because it has damage reduction, I think.
I just deleted it on accident. I did not mean to do that.
I'll pull it over.
I was trying to edit it and click the trash can.
Yeah, I think you could do it right on your sheet. Let me see.
Oh, it's got to be equipped. Okay, I got you. I see. No, actually, it won't let me do it on my sheet.
Oh, yeah, you do have to go into the thing and put 8.
Okay. So the armor points will be 8.
Right. So the damage reduction comes off the top, and then the damage reduction is always there, even if it goes down to 0 and breaks. Oni, your feet are dangling over the edge.
I didn't mean to do that. Sorry.
That's right. You see Max make all this noise to get up forward, and the aliens blot out the conduit. What does Oni do?
So I'm back where we entered.
Are you going to drop through, or are you going to climb towards Max?
If I do that, I'm dead. So I say to Harm, but they're after Max, and I saw, from what I could see or what I can hear, Max has gone into the kitchen. We need to help him. Maybe we should pass through the liquor fridge area. We could at least go through there and into the kitchen, and maybe do something from there. Oh, at least then I could grab some of the bottles and I could make quickly improvise some Molotovs.
Okay.
Max is falling through the kitchen. We need to get to the kitchen to save him. Like in 5 seconds or less, that's what he says.
Yeah, let's do that. I'll quickly help Oni get down from the thing, and then we can go.
Yeah,
Okay.
Can Ricardo make a move before Oni gets back to Harm?
You can, or you could. Yeah. They're going to go forward, Ricardo. You can make a move now, or you could let them go in front of you.
Okay, I'll let them go in front.
Okay. So Oni, you drop through the grate. You can still hear Max up forward, and you and Harm are going to race towards the kitchen. Okay.
Yeah.
Harm, you go forward. You go through the liquor fridge. You probably don't take that much a look around because you got to get one space forward. The liquor has 500,000 killer credits of liquor on the walls, just rows and rows of liquor. There's a cook's corpse in this corner over here that's just, he must have locked himself in here or somehow hid himself in the cold, but he's just dead and blue, and just walls and walls of liquor. You hear the overhead sound of Max trying to pound his way through the conduit. Harm, you just keep going forward to the kitchen?
Yeah. I'll
Okay.
probably grab one thing of liquor on my way to see if I can actually attempt to douse the rats if I can. But
Okay.
yeah.
So Harm, you run through towards the kitchen, into the kitchen. Oni, you're going to grab stuff off the wall and make Molotov cocktails in there?
My little understanding is that the clearest alcohol usually is the most potent. So I'm going to go for the clear stuff.
Okay.
Not going to have any time to, I think, to read labels. So
No.
just grabbing maybe how many do you think I could maybe carry? 2, 3?
2 or 3. Make a intellect plus field medicine roll. I'm going to see how accurate you are. And Ray, as they move forward, you're going to attempt to go into the gaming tables?
Yep. With the intention of getting to the Imperial Suite.
Okay. You crack open the door, Reyes, and you look into the gaming table area. It's littered with casino chips and overturned tables. There's bullet holes in the tables, which you know were from the initial pirate attack. There's a guest head impaled on top of a roulette wheel, and the dog-sized ratling is just sitting on the table itself, and it kind of gets up and stretches, and its ears swivel towards you, and it turns its head. It's got these big kind of luminous eyes and tilts it a little bit, and you hear this little warble. The whole floor is just a mess of turned over tables, casino chips, bodies as you peek through the door, but all you see is that one thing.
Let's cook it.
You gotta enter the room.
I was just going to say, man, just yes.
It's probably like in the center here, in the center of the room, on one of the only non-overturned tables. So Ricardo's going to enter and just fire at it.
Was it Ricardo's table that's still standing?
and let's say that it is.
All right. So roll combat.
Is this combat? I just clicked on the. Oh yeah, it is. Okay.
Oh,
come on.
Yeah, you enter the room, Ricardo, and the door shuts behind you, and you hear this click, and you raise up your flamethrower, and it just goes out all over the place. You set tables on fire and drapery, and when the fire dies down, it's the dog-like one is just sitting like right before this open door to the Imperial Suite. As you are standing there, you do this long sweep, and then you see it out of your corner of your eye, like it's no longer on the table in front of you. It's just sitting right over there by the door to the Imperial Suite, as your flame goes everywhere and sets pretty much the gaming table room on fire. Like huge billows of smoke starts rising up into the ceiling. It's going to get hard to breathe, but whatever it is, it's just sitting by this door.
With the fire, wouldn't that hit the sprinkler system, fire suppression system?
It might eventually. Max, you're up in the conduit. You got aliens, these foot-long, triple-tailed, multiple-eye, rattling like aliens just swarming over your lower body and maybe some of them are coming up forward, but you fill that space. You just feel them biting into your armor of your legs and your torso, and the grate leading down into the kitchen is stuck. You probably can see Harm through the little slats of the grating as you're looking into the kitchen room as Harm busts through the door. What does Max do?
Max isn't new to having alien life forms envelop him at this point. So he's just going to breathe. He's going to stay calm. And if he has any, turn off any kind of pain inhibitors that he has in his system, just so he can kind of zero in and focus and just try to grab a hold of this grate and try to continue to try to just get through it as quick as he can.
Okay, make a strength roll.
What are the odds of a team wipe?
Probably high.
I don't know. Oni's in the rear. He can surely make it back to the shuttle.
Oni will probably survive.
Oh, all right. So you batter the grate and go falling through in a mass of Max, the android, swarmed over by aliens, and all of you, this big mass falls through. You take 2 more damage to your armor as you and this lump of swarming princelings fall through the grate into the kitchen. Harm, you bust through the door just as Max falls through the grate. He's swarmed with you don't know how many of these giant rat-like things. He lands on the floor in this heap. They're all over him. What does Harm do?
He'll probably. I'm debating if I should use the alcohol right now because I know it's gonna get Max. So I don't want him to accidentally set himself on fire when he uses the flamethrower. So
Do it. I mean, the worst is to just burn my synthetic skin off. I mean, as long as I'm partially there.
I guess that's fair. I guess I'll just like chuck the entire bottle just like on them. Like I don't. No,
You
I'm not
can-
gonna like actually throw the bottle, but I'm just gonna like
You can
swing
smash
it. To, like,
off the top and,
yeah,
dump it over him if you want.
yeah, I'm gonna do that because otherwise it's just gonna explode everywhere and get everything. So, yeah.
Okay. So as you run through the kitchen is this space with ovens and they're carbon fiber metal ovens of some nature. There's a big butcher block table, forward here, which you could see are just littered with dead alien ratlings as you break this bottle on like one of the ovens and you just pour it all over Max and the alien ratlings that are all over him. And the walls are just gleaming white, like white tiling, but they're splattered with blood everywhere. And you can just smell this smell of rotting flesh through the alcohol you dump all over Max. Make a combat roll with probably military training or wilderness survival might work.
Hey,
Okay. You
nice.
dump all this alcohol, on Max. The ratlings just, wherever you dump it, they bolt off him and move towards you, leaving Max's bodies because of the alcohol that you've dumped on him. And they just jump off Max towards you as you're standing over Max in that center of the room. Oni, you grab 3 bottles or so, probably stuffing, something in there. You come to the door, you see Harm douse Max with alcohol, and then these alien ratlings jump off Max, and vacate his body, but then they start to mass to climb up onto Harm. What does Oni do?
How many bottles can I throw in one go? Just one?
Yeah, I think you could load one, light one, and throw one.
Since I saw Harm putting the alcohol and the creatures react to it like that, I'm just going to throw a bottle without lighting it, and hopefully the splash will cover Harm and have the same.
Okay, you want to cover Harm in alcohol?
Yeah.
Everyone's gonna smell like Basilio here soon.
It's the best kind of smell.
Honestly, I'd take a couple glass cuts with smelling like booze for a day rather than these rats attacking me a second time.
So, Oni, I think that's a combat roll from your doorway.
Yep, I believe so. And it's going to be really tough. So let's see what happens. No.
Ooh, I just see that bottle sailing over, hitting the far wall. It's a tiled wall and smashing against it. Ricardo Reyes, you're in the gaming tables. You just lit off. It's starting to smoke and fire. There's probably 2 or 3 gaming tables, including the one you used to work on. And weirdly, oddly, unfortunately, you have no idea, but this dog-like rattling alien is standing just in the doorway, ears swiveled towards you, and it makes this little sound. What does Reyes do?
Knowing that he's in front of the doorway and that's where he wants to go, he doesn't want to set it on fire. And I think he cusses to himself, who the fuck made this thing? This flamethrower, this jury-rig flamethrower that just threw off his aim. So he'll let it hang loose, and he'll take out his submachine gun and fire that thing.
All right, roll combat.
Still no good. Wow.
You light up the wall, Reyes, and you see it swivel its ears a little bit, make that little burble sound, and it just tucks itself into the open doorway around the corner.
Yeah, maybe.
You don't.
He kind of looks
You don't
back
have a
towards the
token.
shuttle that's still wide open. He's like, maybe it's time to ditch these, and cut his losses. He's thinking about it. Yeah, I think for the moment he'll give it one more shot and see.
So what's he gonna do? Go towards the doorway? He can't see it at the moment. He's fired off his submachine gun, and it ducks into the doorway of the Imperial suite.
Oh yeah. Okay. In my mind, then, I think he was walking towards
Okay.
while firing. So yeah, I think he would pursue into the Imperial suite.
All right. Ricardo, you move towards the doorway of the Imperial suite. You step in to the Imperial suite, and you see the first thing that catches your eye is that dog-sized alien with these big, huge ears and this long snout and multiple eyes speckling its forehead. It catches your attention because it's over here in the corner. And as soon as you walk through the doorway, you hear, and you turn with your submachine gun to the right. The Imperial suite is just this rat's nest of playing cards and smashed furniture. There's probably 500,000, 600,000 kilocredits worth of chips all over the place. On the floor in front of you is the floor boss, his corpse, and around his neck you see the key card attached. It's probably maybe 5 feet into the Imperial suite. The body is right here in the center. The dog-sized alien has tucked itself in the corner, and you see it kind of just stand there, in this massive overturned table, its ears above, and it kind of looks around at you and makes this little sound. What does Ricardo do?
I think he would continue doing the same thing that he was doing since the pit boss is in the center. Actually, no, I don't think he'll do that. I think what he'll do is he'll focus all his attention on grabbing the key card and running.
Okay. You bend over the key card, Ricardo, and you are standing there in the middle of the room, bent over the pit boss's body, and you see the big-eared, dog-sized alien in front of you face lift up like this. Just lift up and makes this other kind of chirping sound, and this huge shadow just kind of blots out the area in front of you as you're bent over the pit boss. Just as you pull off the key card, you look behind you, and Shudi, the giant alien, is standing right behind you in its nest. Max, you're on the floor. You've been dumped with alcohol. The ratling swarm has left you, bounced around Harm, and is gonna swarm up Harm's body. What does Max do as he smells like, high-grade alcohol? The clear stuff.
So they are essentially, have they completely wrapped around Harm's body?
They're going to.
He's got the flamethrower. He's just gonna let out just ease the trigger down, not just wide open, but just like a quick little burst, just to try to get them in another direction.
Okay. They're between you and Harm. Don't miss. Don't miss.
It's enough to make rat kebabs.
See, but I'm not holding it all the way open. I'm just a little quick.
Yep.
That's all I want to do.
The dice are capricious. Roll a combat check.
Nice. No, wait. It's familiar. It's still nice.
Harm, what do you see as this ball of flame comes towards you? Here's your options, Harm. The ball of flame envelops you and the rats, and you must make an agility save or a speed check not to be enveloped. Or the ball of flame harmlessly passes past you and the ratlings itself.
So if the second option happens, then the rats aren't hit, right?
Right.
So I
If
guess
the-
I'll go with the first one.
all right.
I already have an idea for something else later, so it's fine.
So, Max, your weapon is going to do. Oh, you got the flamethrower, right?
I don't. Yeah, I don't have it on my.
It
We
is.
did a
that's
lot
right.
of back and forth with it.
It's
Yeah, we did.
2d10. Do 2d10. Roll 2d10 before Harm rolls his check. 10. Okay. So, Harm, you need to make a speed check, probably with athletics, I think would be the best way. Speed check plus athletics to avoid this fireball that comes towards you that's going to incinerate this mass of ratlings. If
But
not,
would it do full damage if I just, since I didn't just pull the trigger all the way down?
yes.
Maybe if she. Okay, I tried, Harm. I'm sorry.
Oh, all right. So, Harm,
I tried.
you just can't get out of the way fast enough, really. Your damage reduction on your void armor is 4, so you only take 6, which brings the void armor down to a 9. You get singed maybe around the collar, around the wrist, because you're not wearing the helmet. Maybe it catches the side of your face a little bit and, wrinkles an ear from the heat, and you dive out of the way, probably laterally a little bit, as Max hits both you and the ratlings. They go squirming and squealing to death, and you're there smoking. Oni can see you smoking from the doorway. And what does Oni, Harm, and Max do?
Could you mention you?
Wait, I
you,
just
s-
want to make sure
you go ahead.
Sorry, I just wanted to make sure that I did it correctly. So the damage reduction is 0, but the armor points stayed, right?
No, so what happens is damage reduction always stays.
Nope.
So I will go on to your...
Oh, damage reduction always stays. My God. Okay.
Yeah.
I was like, I don't know what the.
Yeah,
Okay,
so our-
that was 4.
Yeah, put that at 4. And
No, I just wanted to make sure I was doing it correctly
right.
because my brain.
And you would take 6 over the top of that, so you would go down to 9.
Was that all of
9.
the rats in the room
Oh, okay.
that were hit, or?
Yeah, you essentially engulf them in this swath of flamethrower. You just catch Harm as Harm tries to dive out of the way. The swarm itself doesn't have, you just catch them all, really, because you do 10, and this swarm was a little bit small, and so you catch them and Harm at the same time.
And plus, they had alcohol all over them too.
Right.
Yeah.
Oni, you see Max light off Harm and the ratlings. You're standing at the doorway, probably with 2 bottles in. What does Oni do? He smells burning skin, rats.
But I see no movement of the swarm.
No,
I quickly look up the vent.
you don't see any in the vent at the moment. You don't really hear any in the vent. You don't hear any scrabbling yet.
Okay, then I'll go to Harm and see if I can do some field medicine.
Okay, you could
Help
do
with the
that. You could roll field medicine and intellect plus field medicine.
Yep.
I think.
Would
Oh my
I have taken any health off because of that without
No.
the helmet? Okay.
Until your armor points get to 0, you just got kind of surface burns. Maybe that's why Oni fails. And the armor mostly protect you. You got a little wrinkling of your ear as Oni tries to, bandage it. It just hurts like hell. But Harm, it's nothing that you haven't had before. You don't necessarily take damage at the moment. It's just the red armor is damaged. Maybe you have some singe marks, first degree and some mild second degree burns, but nothing that hurt you to that extent.
You probably slap me away.
Right. Back in the Imperial Suite, Ricardo Reyes, you look up and you see Shudi. This is what it looks like. This kind of
That is
massive
terrifying.
rat-like
Jesus
thing
Christ.
with multiple tails, multiple things. It's looming over the top of you,
It's got hands coming out of the back of it.
Yeah,
Reyes.
second.
You realize as you grab the key card, you hear the burble over your shoulder of the herald of Shu Di. And what does Ricardo Reyes do?
So the door, I would imagine, is open and somewhat on fire a little bit, maybe. I think.
The door itself isn't on fire. It's
Oh, okay. But the hallway outside.
yeah, the room, like this probably this far corner, in the middle to the corner where you were facing that direction when you laid off your flamethrower.
I think you would try to dive towards the doorway in an attempt to escape. Maybe fire, like a little combat dive. Fire his flamethrower while he's trying to go through.
Sure.
I think what he wanted to do there was accomplished. He got the key card. Now he's just trying to get out. So I think he would do anything that he could to try to survive an incoming swing or grab or whatever.
Okay, I would do your firearms first.
Okay.
Because if you fail your dive, then that's the bad part.
Oh, what was that? Why is there two? Did I hit advantage?
No, you just probably rolled it by mistake. You rolled. I don't know why you rolled two. Maybe because you're expert. Regardless, you did 7 points of damage, which mildly affects it.
Does he get the wound effect, fire explosive, or is that?
No, it has. You have to hit its wound threshold. You have to hit its wound threshold.
Oh, that's how that works. Okay.
Right. So you do 9 points. 9 points. You do 7 points of damage.
Mhm.
And you need to dive out. If you fail your dive roll, Shu Di is going to bite and attempt to swallow you. He does 3d10 if you fail your dive roll, Ricardo.
Yeah, he probably did.
No pressure.
No pressure.
So make a speed check and whatever skill you think might work. And a little bit of prayer.
Being a prior Marine, I will say military training along with speed. Probably.
All right.
So this is
Actually,
like
I
a
have
John
athletics
Wick move.
too. Yeah.
It's a John Wick move, right?
Right.
Yeah, you're right.
He's looking for that 5.
Yeah, but his speed is not that good, so this is like good luck. Yeah.
All right. So you take 3d10. 1, 2, 3. Oh, not too bad though. You got 2 ones at that. 2 ones. So you take 9 points total, which means you don't take a wound. Yeah, that's not that didn't end up too bad. So you take 9 points total, and you must make a body save or land up in partway being swallowed, land up in Shu Di's mouth. So
still counts as the dodge itself.
Yeah, so you fail to dodge and you take damage. The question is whether you get partially swallowed. And so you can make a body save with athletics or military training to prevent ending up in Shu Di's mouth.
Yeah, not good.
All right. It lifts you up off the ground as you dive. Like you dive through and it just catches maybe the back of your pelvis or your legs, one leg and a pelvis, and you're dangling there, one leg free, arms free. You got the key card in one hand as you're in the Imperial Suite. Back in the kitchen, Oni, Harm, and Max, aside from the smell of burnt alien ratlings, everything is calm in this brightly white tiled kitchen. What do you do? Max, you're muted.
Do we see the fire coming from like under the door from the gambling tables, or
you hear Reyes?
I think what you would have heard is, Reyes, you didn't fire your SMG. You fired your.
I did one
did.
time.
Yeah, you did. I think you would hear the faint report of a submachine gun from behind Oni in the other direction. I mean, it may be loud in here, but gunfire is gunfire. You wouldn't have heard Ricardo's flamethrower, but I think you hear, because he left the door open going to the gaming tables and he left the door open going to the Imperial Suite. I think you hear his SMG go off, his submachine gun, briefly, just faintly, because it's coming through 2 doorways, but you hear it behind you.
Is this a door right here?
Yes, it is.
Okay. Hearing that, as Oni is trying to attend to Harm's ear, Max will open this door. Is the Oh, it's actually in the room with him. Okay.
Right. So, Max, you enter the buffet area. You take this kind of brief look. There are tables in the center with this kind of open buffet bar that's just in tatters, really, because that it's been shot up by the pirates and it's just a mess. Tables litter the floor with rotting food. There's obviously a fire that is here that you could probably see. Those little dots are like a lighted lights in the floor, separating it. There's no curtain or anything, just lights in the floor. So through the smoke, you see these blue and red lights illuminating the smoke. There's fire on overturned gaming tables and roulette tables and a roulette table with a head on the spike. You can see perhaps this doorway way in the back open. You might be able to see Ricardo 8 feet off the ground flailing, perhaps.
You hear screaming?
Maybe you are screaming. Yeah, like you can hear him and you look back there and
I don't think there's a maybe.
Ricardo's up off the ground. Something huge has got him because you just see part of his body, hanging in midair. Something behind, above him's got him. Max, as you come through the door, between you and him, there's fire in this area. What would Max do?
Can Max kind of just walk along this wall right here?
Sure, you can trail along that wall towards that room. Okay.
Try to trail along the wall and try to get to that room where Ricardo's at.
All right, Max, you go trailing along the wall as deftly as possible. Harm and Oni, you're in the kitchen. You hear the gunfire, faintly. Oni probably heard it the best. Max jumps into the buffet room through the doorway. The doorway's open. Smoke is probably just licking out of the top of the doorway. You smell the fire. What does Harm do?
He's probably gonna go get another bottle of alcohol in case he runs into any more aliens, because he figures if it worked on the rats, it might work on others.
All right.
So he's gonna grab
Basilio do? Straight for the alcohol.
I've got 2 bottles. I still have 2 left. I can give you one.
Okay. Then I'll follow Max then.
Okay, so Oni, you just set up a Molotov cocktail and give it to Harm. Okay, so Harm has a Molotov cocktail unlit in one hand.
No, you could light the rag and the rag will burn on the outside, but it won't get in, right?
So I see Harm go through the doorway with this, bottle of Everclear, a little light smoking up. Although she didn't need to light it because there's fire in the other room. She could just
I just thought that too.
lit it off a casino table. So Harm, you jump through the doorway. You look left. You see Max going down the side of the wall. You follow? How closely?
Probably 5-10 feet behind, I guess. Not too close where I'm gonna accidentally set him on fire.
Oni, Harm goes through the doorway with your Molotov cocktail. You have another one. You follow in. Okay. We will go to the Imperial Suite, where at this moment, Ricardo Reyes is 8 feet aloft in the wall with his legs pinned and almost being halfway swallowed. The jaws of this alien are just unhinged, really. They just open wide. You have these twin forked tongues that are wrapped around either side of you, and almost they're like tentacles pulling you in. You immediately take, you get lucky, one more point of damage as you're high up in there.
That tuxedo was made out of Kevlar.
Right.
That's lucky on a D10.
Right. He's had 4 D10s. He's only taken 10 points of damage.
Wow.
Ricardo, you're in trouble. You got to break free. You got to do something. Number 1, in order to leave the mouth without getting attacked directly or biting down for another 3d10, you have to roll a strength check. But you can do something else at the same time. What does Ricardo do as he's aloft?
I'm assuming this flamethrower is kind of like a canister type deal.
Yeah, it probably has like a. If you ever seen a paint gun with
Yeah.
a.
I think he's going to try to take off the flamethrower and then chuck it down the throat.
Okay.
And then he'll proceed to pull out his machine gun, his submachine gun, and try to fire at it.
And stay in its mouth.
Yeah.
Okay.
Wait, you have the key card though, right? To get into the
I have
vault.
the key card.
He's got two. He's got two of them.
Two. So
This dude dies, it's all over.
I think the first one is a combat plus athletics to try to shove the thing in its mouth. You're gonna stay in its mouth anyways. Okay, so you shove it. You're like pushing it down past your leg that are being pulled inside of its unhinged mouth, and pushing the flamethrower as you unhook the SMG that's still around your arm. The key cards around your neck, dangling there, or 2 key cards are dangling down from your neck, and roll your SMG.
Do I get any kind of advantage being how close it is?
Sure, you can take advantage because you're still going to take 3d10 because you didn't try to free yourself.
Are you really asking for advantage to kill yourself?
In his mind, he's already dead. He's in the mouth. So mechanically, he's not a very speedy person. So as a Marine, I think he would want to try to take it down himself. So yeah, let's see. And then maybe he'll survive it. Who knows? He's been rolling pretty well for the health rolls. Wow, what's so many dice?
I don't know. Let's see what you're doing. Let me see how you're roll. How is it rolling? Let's see if I do combat.
Is it some kind of burst roll?
Oh, are you hitting advantage?
Yeah, I hit advantage that last time.
Oh, that last time.
What?
Oh, yeah, it should be 4 dice. It should be 4 dice when you roll advantage. So
I thought it was more than 4. It didn't look like 6.
So you do 13 points of damage.
Okay.
And
plus an explosion from the flamethrower.
you want to roll 2d10?
Sure. Wait.
2. You rolled 1, which was a 2. You got to roll 1. Yeah, roll 1 more. I can see
higher.
it.
Roll higher. There you go.
So you hit it and you hear it explode. Just this little sound. You see the rat thing's probably upper body go whoop, just a little bit, and it chomps down on you.
Nice.
You take 16.
Okay, that's 1 wound.
Right, so you would take 10 plus 6, you'd be down to 14, and you get you roll on the blunt force wound. Third one from the top on the roll tables, on roll tables 1E.
You're really going through characters like kids go through candy.
Yeah, that's all right.
To be
This
fair,
character
he's
wasn't
got
meant.
one
This
stash.
character wasn't supposed to be a main one. My main one is, I think, in the recovery.
So what you're telling me is we could have just left Ricardo.
Sure, you want you hit you go all the way up to the top where the chat is. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 icons, 7 icons.
Oh, I see it.
And then under roll tables 1E, it has blunt force wound. Oh, roll 1d10. And you just hear your spine crack, Ricardo. Oh, you got 10 rounds. Roll a strength test so you're not swallowed. Oh, you did. Your legs go completely numb. You can't feel your feet or your knees or your hips anymore. You have this huge sharp pain just above your pelvis. You get sucked into your armpits. Reyes, most of your body is in the mouth of the Shu D. Your arms are free. You got an SMG in one hand and 2 key cards are around your neck dangling in front of you. Max, you're around the corner. You look through the door and that's what you see. This man you've met called Reyes is nigh almost swallowed whole. He's up to his armpits in this giant alien's mouth. He's holding on vainly to a SMG in one hand. And what does Max do? You're muted.
Max is gonna take the SMG and try to, because you said he's still in the mouth.
You're gonna go in the room and take it from him?
No, I'm just gonna use the SMG, and because I was thinking about using the flamethrower, but
okay,
with him still in the mouth, it's probably not the best idea. So I'm gonna use the Armor 20 submachine gun and try to pump a few rounds into it.
Okay, I think you could do that from where you are, through the doorway.
Well, it's your turn. You can always
Woo!
come closer and close the range too. Oh, nice roll.
Yeah, 8 and 3. So hit the gunshot wound for me. Okay, so he's not bleeding. You do 11.
But I also saw something from when he swallowed the tube, or was it that the creature would have to take a body save or be set on fire for 2d10 rounds.
Where is that?
Where Reyes rolled when he originally threw the flamethrower in there.
So he makes a body save. I can make a body save for him.
I'm just trying to do everything we can to make it. I'm not being a Karen, I promise. I'm just trying to make sure.
Reyes is halfway down his throat, so if the thing is on fire, well, Reyes won't feel it because his back is broken anyway. So, oh yeah, actually, I was accidentally on Ricardo's, but you don't see any fire or smoke licking out from the sides of Reyes as he's up his armpits into the alien mouth. Harm, you're right behind Max. You probably see Max fire his submachine gun. You look through the doorway. You see just a partial of this huge rat-like alien. It's massive. Reyes is 8-9 feet off the ground. You only see him dangling like up to his armpits. He's got his SMG in the hand. He's probably got no blood from his nose and his ear. He looks really bad. What does Harm do? You're carrying a Molotov cocktail that's probably your SMG.
I'm gonna try for the SMG first.
Okay.
Because just why not? And knowing my luck, it might end up working. So that would be the third one on mine, or would that be the first one? I know I don't have the shotgun. So
it would be the first one, submachine gun.
Okay, that's what I thought.
Yeah.
Just wanted to make sure I was clicking the right one. And then I can add firearms to that, yeah?
Yeah.
Ooh.
Ooh, 19 points. Wow. Hit the gunshot.
Yeah, I was gonna say I wanna try that. Cool.
19, so that would be 1. Yeah, you light it up, Harm. Somehow missing Reyes. It probably shoots it all up. You're right over the top of Max. Goes right through the doorway. It just hits it across the side and up and down. Oni, you're standing behind Harm, probably right over Harm's shoulder as you see him shoot his submachine gun through the door. You just got this small view. You intermittently see Reyes, but then he's out of view. And then he's back in view, and then he's out of view. What does Oni do?
Does Oni see the key cards?
I think so. I mean, they're dangling from his neck. I think it's reasonable that he could probably see them
flopping around.
Right.
And since I'm the one, I have the other one. I know what they are. Did Mr. Tim? How do we know that we need 3?
When you were in the security section, you realized you needed 3, and there's also a little prompt there at the console in the security section.
So I see 2 more. How many hexes can I move?
You can move in the room if you want. You can do whatever you want, Tony.
Join the party.
I'm booting it. I'm running, and I'm going to try to grab the key cards.
Okay. Oni, I think that is a speed. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, can I, as I'm running, I've got a lit Molotov, just toss that in and then try to grab, or is it one action, grab the key cards?
I think you could throw the Molotov cocktail. I gave Reyes a couple actions that were reasonable. I think you could roll a combat roll if you want to throw the Molotov cocktail as you're running in there, and then a speed check to try to grab the key cards.
Yeah. So I'm trying to sort of obviously not hit the doorway with the Molotov because I have to go through the door.
The only bad thing that would happen is if you critically fail, then you hit Reyes.
I'll get splashed. Yeah, I'll get splashed. Okay, so combat roll. No.
Yeah, I just see you throw it, hits the wall, lights the overhead on fire, or you got that kind of blue licking flame as it breaks against the wall, and you run through the doorway. You see it, Oni. It's this huge alien, just a massive jaw, which most of Reyes is stuck inside. It's got these 3 kind of whipping tails behind it and eyes peppers all over its place. You see the key cards dangling. You look up and you catch Reyes's eye. Reyes, you're looking down and Oni is there as you're in the mouth of the monster. What does Reyes do?
So, in the jaws of a monster, what can you do?
Well,
With a
You
broken
see-
back.
you see Oni reaching for the key cards.
Is he that kind of a person?
I don't know. That's why I asked.
No, I'm asking myself. I think he would grab the key cards and hold them firmly and look at Oni as he pulls out his submachine gun and say, "Kill it!" Fire.
So he's going to hold it up so that Oni has a more difficult time to get them.
Yeah, because in his mind, he thinks he could probably still survive this.
All right, Oni, make that speed check at disadvantage. And I would have you, as you reach up there and try to grab it, make a panic roll, Oni. It's a 1d20.
Is that not fear then?
Yeah, so you can go to roll tables, go down to panic check, stress normal.
Okay, roll tables, panics, check, normal, stress normal.
Right at the bottom.
Wow, that's a big table. So, and just roll the one die 20.
Yeah, it'll just roll. If you have to roll underneath it, it'll tell you if something happens. I think that's an appropriate stage. 5. It didn't tell you. Okay, let me look it up. You can roll it straight off the thing. Say 1.
I
2,
see that
3,
now.
4,
Do you want me to
5.
do that?
Coward. What does it say? So you get the condition called coward. I have to look up and see. So put condition and just put coward, and I'll look up and see what it does.
Tell you what he doesn't do is get the key cards.
Right. He doesn't get the key cards. He rolls stress, and he rolled under his stress, and so he gets the new condition called coward, which is you must make a fear save to engage in violence, otherwise you flee.
That's about right.
That's about right. So, Odie, how does this overwhelm you? You're standing under this huge monstrosity. Reyes grabs it.
I would imagine that the smell of it, more than anything else, is so
Okay.
repulsive that it's just beyond comprehension and humanity. And
All right.
so I need to roll fear in order to do any combat.
Next round, you will roll fear to see if you don't just flee, flat out, run out of the room, that sort of thing. Which circles back to Ricardo Reyes. Ricardo, getting out of the monster's mouth is going to be exceedingly difficult. Your back is broken.
Yep.
You have to make a death save in 7 rounds. If you try to free yourself, it will be a strength check at disadvantage because you no longer have functioning legs, and you're up into your armpits. You have the key cards clutched against your chest, denying Oni, somehow thinking that he's going to save you, and you got an SMG in your hand. You're going to take 3d10 this round unless you can free yourself, but you know that's probably not going to happen. What does Ricardo Reyes do?
So as Oni came to kind of take the key cards from him, and he sees the aftermath of him yelling at Oni to kill him, he sees the fear in his eyes, and he yells back in frustration through bloody teeth, "Coward!" And he takes his gun and he tries to fire again.
Okay. 9. So you shoot it. You
Yeah.
just like aim down
He's
at
like,
the side.
he's just frustrated because, he thought he was coming to help, and he was like, taken aback by, his actual aim of taking the key cards from him.
You take 18 points of damage.
Okay.
So that brings you to 16 with your second wound. And you roll on the blunt force wound table again.
I have this image of Robert Shaw in the mouth of Jaws.
It just bites down on top of you, Reyes. You need to make a immediate death save as it pulls you deeper inside. What was that?
It keeps rolling success.
No. What did it do that? Did you hit the death save mark?
I thought I did.
Let me see what happens when I hit
Oh,
it.
you know what? I had the other thing. Sorry.
Yeah, hit the death save and put normal.
There you go. Dead.
What happens, Reyes, as it bites down just behind the hump of your spine? The key cards are clutched up against your chest. You can see Oni's fear in his face.
I think, as he yells back to Oni, calling him a coward, just before, I would imagine this big thing kind of like tosses him in the air and he gets like chomped down and like swallowed whole.
Max, you're outside the room. You see Oni rush in, and then he's just kind of just standing there. You see the last visions of Reyes, probably just the top of his head, maybe an arm, the end of his SMG. His hands are kind of just on the lips of it. One's holding the SMG handle, which it eventually just falls to the ground, and the other one's holding the key cards, but only like this much of his arm is sticking out of the monster. Oni looks like he's standing still. What does Max do?
How hurt is this thing looking? Is it in
It
rough
looks-
shape or
It looks rough. It looks rough, Max. You're looking at it. Maybe it's tipped or teetered a little bit, and you see it's bleeding, in many areas. It's probably fallen a little bit low, so it's kind of sunk down, so you can even see the top of its head. It's no longer standing up straight, no longer like feeling like it's probably low. The top of it probably comes to the top of Oni's head. Oni is just standing there as it drops a little bit, eyes, to multicolor eyes. They're almost face to face, so it's sunk down some. Max, if you looked at it as an android, you'd know that it's in pretty bad shape.
With Oni being in the room, Max will still holster the flamethrower and just try to pump more rounds into it with the SMG.
Okay. What?
Come on, this thing's got to be close. 15.
Not quite. Like, you see it like Oni is in there, probably beginning to shake or sweat. What does fear look like on Oni?
Probably wets himself.
Okay. You're standing there as bullets hit it and it sinks lower. You almost can see over the top of it through this hump of this ridged, spined backbone. You barely see Reyes's, what's left of him. Maybe one hand is sticking out, the SMG, the top of his head a little bit. But the creature is so wounded, he hasn't finished swallowing Reyes. Harm, you're tucked back a little bit behind Max. You could just barely see Oni inside this room. You can see the bulk of it, the monstrosity's head. What does Harm do?
If I went in to get the key cards and try to back Oni out of the room at the same time, would I be able to do that? Because I can see Oni kind of freezing up, right? So I want to see if I can kind of get him away from whatever the hell this monstrosity is.
Don't forget, Harm. Don't forget, Harm. I have to roll coward. I'll find my own way out.
Fair.
Or
But,
you could
I
kill
still
it.
want to get him that's true. But either way, we
Kill
still
it.
need key cards.
Yes.
So
Kill it before it swallows the key card. It's got to be close.
okay, good
Unless
point.
the GM's
actually.
lying, which you could be.
So I'm gonna do that again. So that would be with firearms.
Oh my goodness.
I tried. Should have just gone for the key card. Oh well.
Harm, roll panic. Go to the roll tables, and all the way in the bottom it says panic check stress. Hit that and then say roll on the far right.
Would that be the roll normal? Because I think we did that where we put it in our little whatever
Yeah.
it's called.
Did it work?
Looks like it.
Nightmares. Okay. Yeah, that's fine. You're going to have nightmares of some degree. Harm. We'll put it on your sheet. Every time you try to do a rest save or that sort of thing, it's going to be at disadvantage. So Harm, you just pepper the wall around the doorway, really, around the edge. Oni, make a fear save. Or
I hate to bring this up. Well, let me ask you this first: is Oni close to me technically, since he's in the other room?
no, he can't see you. He's like tucked in around the doorway.
Okay, so you can do it at normal.
Yeah.
Okay, because my trauma response is fear saves made by close PCs are at disadvantage. So I just wanted to double check.
Yeah, I think I would just let him make his regular old fear save. He might run anyways.
That's true.
So again, he'll do while he's wetting the front of his leaking inside of his battle armor. He will try to do his litany of fear. So
Sure, you could try.
I hope we have sanitization wipes on because we're gonna need them.
You made it anyways. You made it just almost on your fear check. Yeah. So what happens, Oni? What do? You're standing there. It's lower than you. You realize that it, just has partially swallowed or mostly swallowed Reyes. You can't see it at all. It lifts up its head. Its multiple eyes just are all looking at you, and it opens its mouth. You could see Reyes's hands and the top of his head, maybe 3 or 4 feet down in its throat. You realize
he's gone.
Right. And you might be next.
Breaking.
Yeah, you might be next. What does Oni do?
It's still alive and it's sucking him down, but we need the key cards. Can I see the key cards?
Yeah, like, about this far inside its mouth.
Do you have a burst of courage?
I made my fear roll, so yeah, I do.
So you could make a check to try to reach in there and grab him. If you fail the check, it bites you for 3d10.
Okay, I've got one more Molotov left. I'm going to toss it at.
Okay. All right. I'd give you combat with advantage. You're standing right next to it.
Oni, you got this. Kill this thing, please.
Here it goes.
Oh my god!
With both of those 81s, both.
You rolled
That.
You rolled an 81 and an 88. You lucky you didn't get the 88 at a critical failure. You rolled an 81 and an 88, Oni. What happens?
I probably toss it on above the creature's head, and it
sails over the top of him.
Yeah.
Lands behind him, and hits the wall behind it. Max, you probably see this Molotov cocktail go flittering by, end over end, sputtering. Oni is stuck there as he fails on this, and it bites Oni with his failed roll. Oni, you take 17.
Ooh, okay, so I'm 0. I'm -1.
So you take 1 wound on your sheet, and you roll over to 15 on your current hit.
So
health.
I go to 15 health?
You go to 15 health and 1 wound, and then you go to the table marked blunt force wound.
Blunt force wound, there we go. And roll down at the bottom.
Right.
Oh,
minor injury. Okay. You're winded, but you're at disadvantage for most everything until you catch your breath. Roll a strength check or become entrapped in the beast's mouth. Oh, just missed it. All right, Oni. It catches you.
Arm.
Yeah, like on the side, like lifts you up off the ground a little bit. Max is standing there and probably sees Oni go sideways, his feet pointing towards the door. He's halfway in, halfway out of the mouth. Go ahead.
I forgot. I've got armor. So, I mean, does it take some of that bite damage?
Yes, it would. So actually, you wouldn't have the wound, and it did 17. So it would only do 10. So you would actually be down to 6 without the wound. Right. So we're just disregard that. We'll retcon it a little bit.
I apologize. Yeah.
That's okay. You still end up in its mouth, though. You just don't have the wound, so you don't have disadvantage. You're just in its mouth. It gets free attack until you free yourself. Max, you see Oni lifted up off his feet. Reyes is gone. Oni's half in his body. What does Max do?
So I'm assuming the key cards are probably at this point being digested.
Well, they're just halfway down. They're still probably retrievable with
Oni can
some.
get it.
We'd have to get Oni out first and then dive in to get the.
You'd have to get, a cleaver or something from the kitchen.
I'm really tempted to leave since me and Harm are the only two original members anyway. I know that sounds bad. I'm sorry, Oni, but we can't team wipe. We've made it this far without a team wipe.
You just have to hit it again. Oh, now I feel like Riaz. It's like, come on, man. I can't believe
Okay,
it.
all right, okay. If you guys would quit getting eaten by it, I could use the flamethrower.
Flamethrower. Just use it. Although I think the gun is just as good, isn't it?
In Harm's hands, certainly. Harm does a whole bunch of damage when he fires off his gun.
I'll fire off again with the submachine gun. I mean, I have nothing I could use to even other than Mother's voice, but I don't think that's going to do anything.
I mean, mechanically, a stim pack gives you advantage.
Oh,
I don't think we brought any stim packs.
Well, you probably have one. Everyone probably carries stim packs.
It's just one.
Right on you. You miss, Max. It's a terrible shot. It peppers the wallway. Maybe the doorway is swinging a little bit closed. Harm. You see Oni's feet, and things look bad. Things look really bad. Harm. You've been in combat before in the Revolution sector. What does Harm do?
He'll probably just think, fuck it, and aim for it again. Just be like he won't say it, but he's kind of grown attached to Oni a little bit.
16 points. What happens, Harm, as you fire off through the doorway, partially closed? The doorway starts to swing closed because of Max shots. You got this narrow window of opening, and Harm just threads that through. The bullets kind of trace around its head and down its spine, and you just see it fall down to the ground. As it falls, it bites down on Oni. Oni takes 10 damage and is laying on the floor, and all goes silent. All you can hear is the pachinko machines and the music from the slot machines, and we'll end it there for the moment.
Killed it!
That's all I wanted to do. Honestly, if I'd asked him how bad it was looking and it didn't look like it had taken any damage, we were just gonna leave.
Fair.
Once Ricardo was like, well, this guy's kind of a throwaway character anyway. Once I heard that, I was like, yeah, what are we doing? Why are we here?
I didn't realize Harm could do so much damage. Harm does a lot of damage.
Yeah, apparently the build I did for him is a lot, and I didn't even realize. So
yeah, I don't think
Write
he
it
did less
down.
than,
Write it down how you do that.
I don't think he did less than 15. But
it wasn't even something I consciously did either. It was just I rolled, and the things I chose that kind of happened. So
right. Hopefully y'all had fun.
Yep. I just want to. I'm sorry. Just to tie up so that I don't forget. I've just taken 10. My armor is already shot, right? So I get
your armor's shot, and let me see.
I've got 6 left. So I go down to 15 health and 1 wound.
No, because you took 10, so you go down to 3. You don't take a wound. Your armor is done.
Okay.
And you go to 3, so you're at 3 of 16 without a wound. Landshark, go ahead.
Just so I can see it. So the way the armor works is you have armor points that do damage reduction, but then once armor points reach 0, then you take full damage, right?
Right. So there's 2 different things with the armor. There's armor points and damage reduction. Not all armor has damage reduction. So damage reduction comes off the top; it never goes away. Armor points whittle down. Once you're at 0 armor points, the armor is broken until you have it repaired. You can still wear it. You still get damage reduction from it, but everything flows over into your health at that point.
Not the AP.
Right. And so only advanced armor and presently Harm's Jessica Elizabeth Red Void armor has damage reduction. Most other armor just has armor points, and they're just blown once they're
done.
Right.
We need some of that good stuff.
yeah, I'm trying to remember how I have 2 wounds. Does the nightmares count as one of the wounds because it's technically a condition, or
I don't
how
know.
does that work?
I don't think you have 2 wounds. I think you probably just clicked there by mistake.
I
'Cause
technically
for
have
some
one as
reason
well.
because for some reason it came down like on my sheet it says 2 wounds
Yeah, I think you're at
for
0.
some reason.
You took the nightmares and the other one by panic roll. That doesn't give you wounds, and so maybe that was
That's
just a
what I thought.
leftover from something and I didn't see it.
Will you stop? Okay. I do have 16 health, so I might have 1 wound, but I don't remember what it would have been
Our
from.
look up through the chat. I didn't think.
Yeah, I didn't think either.
I know you took
I had-
some damage, but you took
I
it to your
took
armor
some
instead.
damage, yeah.
Landshark needs a tank.
Huh?
I said you need a tank.
He is the tank. He just soaks up damage for the rest of the team.
When you said I'm gonna be sneaky and going to the gaming table, I'm thinking to myself, oh my goodness.
Yeah.
This is not going to end
Yeah,
well.
so the speed check earlier was for, like an hour ago, was for the rat thing, so that might have been where I got some of the damage from, but I don't know.
Yeah, they don't do that much damage.
But
I always knew the herald was just a decoy, Landshark, so I had it flitter around to the doorway thinking, maybe he won't follow it in.
It went to where he was trying to go.
Right. It was a catch-22.
Yeah.
That doesn't look right, but I gotta go in there anyways.
Yeah.
Is he gonna wait? No. It's Reyes. He's gonna go in there by himself.
Yeah, the persona that I had for him and his like backstory, he wasn't a character to play well. He was definitely in there to incite drama. So
And I gave him a whole lot of knowledge that is now dead.
yeah. Well, I sent you some text on Discord to kind of like maybe not all the way be gone, but
Oh, okay, I'll look it over.
Yeah.
Anyone have questions or comments for me?
I know we did some advancement. It seemed like forever ago now.
Oh, yeah.
Is there? Because I definitely want to take something in some combat skills.
What do you think would be reasonable? A single train skill?
I mean, whatever the group decide, or I guess really whatever you decide. I know in some of my games, like in the Alien, you can only upgrade a skill that you've used
I like that.
in
I
that
like-
session, I guess, since you've used
Sure,
it.
I think
Yeah.
like we played 15, so I think if you want to take
I just want anything I can do for combat.
I think you could take a trained in firearms or in one of the combat pathways at this point. You could also consider, I got to get the book. I will actually like take a picture of I think you guys have it too. I think I probably sent it to you, the flow sheet. You could take a social skill if you wanted, if you consider CS to 3. But you could take a train skill, a plus 10, and something outside that you think would fit over the last 15 sessions. I think that's reasonable.
I've just, unlike Landshark, I've grown attached to my character because he's lived for so long.
that's usually how it's supposed to be played, right? Grow attachment.
Yeah.
It makes the loss even worse.
So
At
I'm
this
trying to
point-
like build him
At this
up.
point, I've gone through so many.
I thought this one was gonna last a while. Like I thought, okay, well, he's gonna play this one and maybe it'll get on the ship and you have like these 2 characters. He decides which one's asleep and which one's not. Nope.
I will
No,
say,
he was always supposed to incite drama into the crew.
I will say every
it's kind of
character
like
that
those one
Landshark
characters
makes,
that just does.
I like more and more. Like I liked Ace, and then I was like, and then Dr. Resolve came along. I was like, damn, Dr. Resolve is a really good character. And then Basilio came along. I was like, wow, really? The drunken mechanic. I really like his character. And then
Yeah, I
Reyes
really
came
like
along,
that
and I was like,
character
I
too, and
could
he's
see
actually
real.
survived. No, so he actually lived, right? So Oni kept him alive. I was willing to let him go, but because he's lived, I'm gonna insert like drama when he comes back.
Yeah.
I like Basilio a lot. I like Basilio,
And
then
he
Reyes, I
lived
was kind of
because-
like, see.
Because Oni had a critical success. He
Yeah.
rolled doubles. That's why he lived.
Yeah.
I thought,
That's the only reason why I was like, okay, let's put some drama into this. I
don't know.
made this character to specifically
Spice it up a little bit.
spice it up. Yeah.